What's up, folks, and welcome back to Dyce Reacts, where we are staying in London, England tonight. Oh yeah, we are going to be checking out 7 British gadgets and gizmos I had never used as an American. Very much side checks one out. We ain't going to waste no more time. Just going to get right into it, folks. We're going to get right into it. Oh yeah.
Hi and welcome back to the Girl Gone London channel. Today we're talking about 7 tools and gadgets I hadn't used before moving to the UK. Now first on my list is the electric kettle. I know, before you roll your eyes and say Americans have electric kettles too, let me stop you right there. No, we don't. Not really. What Americans call an electric kettle is usually a sad, underpowered device that takes approximately 17 minutes to boil a cup of water. British electric kettles are different, also thanks to the voltage in the UK being higher than in the USA. They're fast, they're efficient, and they're absolutely essential to daily life. The first time I watched my flatmate make tea, I was genuinely impressed. She filled the kettle, pressed a button, and within like 90 seconds, she had rolling, bubbling water. In America, I would have had to put a pot on the stove, waited 5 minutes for it to heat up, then waited another 5 minutes for the water to boil, all while using enough energy to power a small village. But here's what really blew my mind. British people use their kettles for everything. Making tea, obviously, but also cooking pasta is faster by pre-boiling the water, warming up water for washing dishes, sterilizing baby bottles. I once watched a British person use their kettle to reheat leftover soup. Now, the reason British kettles are so superior comes down to the electrical infrastructure. British homes run on around 240 volts compared to America's 120 volts. This means British appliances can draw more power and work faster. A British kettle can pull 3,000 watts of power. An American kettle maxes out at around 1,500 watts. It's basic physics. More power equals faster boiling. Living without a proper electric kettle now feels like living in the Stone Age. When I visit America, I find myself frustrated by the inefficiency. Why are we still boiling water like it's 1850? Why haven't we adopted this obviously superior technology? I mean, I know why, I just told you it's because of the voltage, but still. Next up is the washing up bowl. I'm gonna call it a gadget. It's a bowl, but it's kind of also a gadget, and none of them causes more existential crisis in me than a washing up bowl. It's essentially a sink.
Existential crisis. Yeah, I think that's a bit too far right there. That's a stretch where she's going with that. Like, really?
Inside of a sink. A sink inside of a perfectly good, functional sink. A small plastic bowl sitting there like a parasite. My first encounter with washing up bowls was also at the same flat where my flatmate was boiling tea. It was the first time I'd lived in the UK, and I was confused by what was going on. She was obsessed with using the washing up bowl, and I was just like, but the sink already exists. Now, the theory is that you fill the bowl with hot and soapy water, you wash your dishes in the bowl, then you rinse them under the tap. This uses less water than filling the entire sink. It also means you can easily empty and refill the bowl without having to clean the sink first. Plus, if you have a double sink, you can use one side for washing with the bowl and the other side for rinsing. But Americans don't really think this way. We have garbage disposals and dishwashers and a cultural belief that more water equals cleaner dishes. And also, I don't understand washing up bowls because they also seem to get very, very dirty water very quickly that I'm then washing the dishes in. It feels like an extra step, and even after years of living in the UK, I have not been converted. Now, next on my list of gadgets I hadn't used before moving to the UK.
And I understand what she's saying there, because sometimes you could use like a different, like a bowl or whatnot, a wash-up bowl, like what she just mentioned. Because we've done it here in our country. We've done it a couple times, few times, but it's not necessarily for hot water all the time. But sometimes maybe it depends on what you're cooking up. You want to have another separate bowl where you could wash certain utensils that are maybe harder to wash, and you want them to soak in it for a while you use the actual sink. So from that perspective, I can understand that, but it's not a regular use, especially if you have a sink that has both sides, that has 2 sides.
is the radiator key. In America, when your heating isn't working, you have to call a professional. In Britain, you grab your radiator key and become the professional. This tiny, hollow metal key, which looks like it belongs in a medieval torture chamber, is an essential homeowner's tool. I discovered radiator keys during my first British winter when half the radiators in the flat decided to stop working. I called my landlord, expecting him to tell me what to do, and he pointed me to the radiator key. And I said, "What's a radiator key?" And he said, "For bleeding the radiators." I'm sorry. What, we need to bleed the radiators? That sounds either very medical or very violent, and I'm not qualified for either. As it turns out, British radiators develop air bubbles that prevent hot water from circulating properly. The solution is known as bleeding, using the radiator key to open a small valve at the top of the radiator, letting the air escape until hot water starts flowing again. It's a simple process that takes around 30 seconds per radiator, and it can instantly fix your heating problems. Okay. Next on my list is a tea cozy. These knitted or fabric covers that slip over teapots.
Now that looks a little ridiculous, man. That looks a little ridiculous. That feels so Alaskan. Yeah, it feels like you're in some damp, cold country where it's always cold and everything you touch is just freezing cold and you're shaking. Then that makes sense. But if it's not that cold, like having this in the summertime, it's kind of crazy to me. It just, I don't know. Or maybe there's a scientific reason why they use it. I don't know if it's to keep the whatever is inside warmer for a longer time period. Who knows? She's gonna tell me. I think I jumped the gun on this one. I'm gonna take it easy. Let me hear what she has to say.
These knitted or fabric covers that slip over teapots to keep them warm are peak British. Look like little hats for teapots, complete with patterns and colors and maybe sometimes decorative elements like animals or flowers. And tea cozies actually work, I kid you not. They work pretty well. A proper tea cozy can keep a pot of tea hot for hours. The insulation is remarkable. The tea stays at drinking temperature far longer than it would in an exposed pot. And this is crucial when you understand British tea culture. Tea isn't just like a single beverage. You make a pot, not always just a cup. You sit down and have multiple cups from the same pot and expect each cup to be properly hot. In America, we don't really do teapots as much. We make coffee in pots, but tea gets the individual bag treatment. Heat up some water, dunk a bag, drink immediately. The idea of making a pot of tea is a little bit more foreign to us. We're more of a heat it up when you need it kind of culture. The variety of tea cozies is incredible. Modern ones come in every design, from elegant quilted fabrics to novelty designs. There are seasonal tea cozies, designer tea cozies, and vintage tea cozies passed down through generations. Now, the next thing on my list is also tea related, and it's called a caddy spoon. They're specialized spoons designed specifically for measuring tea leaves from a tea caddy, which in itself is a British concept I'd never encountered. These aren't regular teaspoons made small. They're purposely designed with wide, shallow bowls, perfect for scooping loose tea without crushing delicate leaves. The short handle also makes them perfect for reaching into tea caddies without your fingers touching the leaves. Traditional caddy spoons are often made from silver, bone, or mother of pearl. Many are miniature works of art with decorative handles shaped like shells, leaves, or other natural motifs. Victorian-era caddy spoons are particularly elaborate, reflecting the importance of tea in 19th century British society. Now, the next thing on my list is a toast rack. Let me tell you about toast racks. These are metal stands designed to hold pieces of toast.
Now, this looks like something I should know because, toast is something that's, well, back in my time, growing up, it was really common. It looks like something maybe I've seen before, but I can't be sure about that. So I think it's safe to say this is the first time I'm actually hearing about that, which is kind of strange to me. I should know that because there was a time growing up, toast was such a big thing, not just in my household. Now you don't hear that much. Doesn't mean it's not common, but I can remember a time where it was like a fascination. You have to have toast bread, but I can't remember seeing this gadget.
toast upright so they stay crispy instead of getting soggy from trapped steam. Before moving to Britain, I honestly had never seen these. In America, toast either was on my plate or it was on a toaster straight into my mouth. But then I experienced proper British breakfast at a bed and breakfast in the Cotswolds, and the host brings out this metal rack holding perfectly aligned pieces of toast. The toast was still warm, but also had a crispy exterior, and that's when I learned about the beauty of the toast rack. It's brilliant, obvious, and both seems completely unnecessary and completely necessary once you notice the difference. British toast racks come in various materials and styles. Traditional ones are silver-plated metal with wire frames, but modern versions also use stainless steel or wood. Some are even adjustable to accommodate different toast thickness. The really fancy ones have integrated butter dishes or jam holders.
Tea cozier and the toast rack. If there are two products that I've seen that's necessary and unnecessary at the same time, it has to be those two. Like she said, for the toast rack, I'm gonna add it to the cozier as well, because I mean it looks like it doesn't work, but she said it actually works. So I'm guessing maybe a flask actually came from the UK, because since they're so big on keeping tea warm and they love to have many go at it, I would say it's safe to say that maybe a flask where you keep water warm or any liquid warm for a long period of time, I would say maybe this came from the UK. Am I right? Was it invented in the UK? And if it did came from the UK, it's safe to say it's not exaggerated when people say that the UK, British people love tea. Everything is about tea multiple times in a day. So I'm gonna have to find out, or you British folks, hit me up in the comments. Is it from the UK? Invented in the UK? I haven't heard many things on this list right there, so it definitely surprised me, those gadgets. I haven't, like I said, toast was such a big thing growing up when I was young, and I have never seen that gadget. And she said she never saw it as well when she was growing up. So I'm not alone, and I'm glad I'm not alone, because yeah, maybe I don't go in fancy restaurants enough to see that. Maybe that's why. Maybe I've seen it maybe in movies or whatnot, and I never really paid attention to it. But as I'm doing this video there, I can't recall ever seeing it. If you want to see that long run action that I do, hit me over on Dyce Reacts, where I do music reactions. This is where I'm going to be making my exit. So until next time, peace out.